Why don't you tell the camera who the reigning champion of Uno is?
It's me!
Hi!
Hello.
I'm Sally!
And I'm Anthony.
And we're doing Nude O'Clock today. Nude O'Clock. We're gonna make the classic starving artist meal. Pasta.
Nudes.
Nudes. These are fancy nudes. They have like swirls on them. And pasta sauce.
Can we take a second to talk about, before we get started, today's episode is brought to you by
Raos.
This is not just your ordinary sauce.
No, folks. This sauce will do your homework, wash the dog, and do your laundry.
That's right.
Raos.
This sauce is a nootropic sauce. This will enhance your cognitive function for the rest of the evening or morning, depending on when you eat your nudes.
Raos. Is that all we want to say about
It's
it?
banging.
It's banging. It doesn't slap. It
Smacks.
Raos. And then we have a little parmigiano.
Parmigiano.
Okay, so because I'm poor, I just use this other pan as a lid. We're gonna let it boil.
Nice.
Thanks. First off, what do you do? What is your creative thing?
My creative thing, focus, music. Performing, writing music. Shameless plug. I founded the band Head to the Roots. At Head to the Roots.
At Head to the Roots.
Yeah.
On Instagram and Facebook and YouTube
Yes.
and TikTok.
Yes.
TikTok. So then my second question is, if you were not doing what you're doing, writing and recording music, what would you be doing with your life?
I would be like a organic farmer, or
Sweet.
like working with vegetation, plants, vegetables.
Okay.
That's what
Also,
I'd be doing.
sorry to interrupt you, but we have another guest on the show.
A speciales guest.
It's Ruben! This is Rubik's Cube, also known as Ruben. And if he starts barking, you know that's what's up. I think I'm gonna hold him for a minute so he doesn't feel left out. I'm dog sitting. I wish this was my dog.
Alright, Sally, what would you be doing?
Hopefully it's not a little bitch this time. Okay.
You little bitch.
Don't be a little bitch, iPhone. What was I talking about?
I asked you what would you be doing if you weren't performing music, writing music, teaching voice?
I'd probably be maybe in a medical profession as like an ENT, something still related to the voice, honestly. Or also, I don't know, marine biologist or an archaeologist. Like that was like what I wanted to be as a little kid.
Yeah.
When I was little, I was like, I'm gonna be an archaeologist because I was like fascinated with like, wouldn't it be cool to like fly to Egypt and then you're just like digging around in the sand and suddenly you like come across a tomb? Like,
Yeah.
what? So cool. But I get paid for this? Like, it is time to add la pasta. All right.
Now we watch the water boil.
Add the pasta. Oh, she is ready. Yay. Look at that. I don't know if you can see it.
Make nice.
And la piece de résistance. Raos.
This is it.
Raos. Oh, oui, baguette.
Come on, Sally, you can do it.
You just have the ugliest face. Oh, no, my hands are slippy. Oh, I think I'm gonna have to ask you to do it here.
Flip the script. Oh yeah.
Oh wow, I just loosened. I just loosened it for him.
That's what they always say.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. yeah. Oh my god.
This is the Parmesan. Bikini bottom. Thank you.
It's like Salt Bay. A bippity boop.
We eat this. It's nice.
Well, we were kind of talking off camera. The plight of every musician in the modern world now is trying to gain an audience, especially independent musicians. That's what we're really talking about. We're talking about how TikTok, your experience with TikTok, has been really beautiful as far as like, wow, a lot of people are seeing my videos, but we were talking about how that actually translates to, that doesn't really translate to people listening to your music or buying your shit, you know?
That was my experience so far. Got a lot of views, but didn't translate to listens or purchase of merch or anything. All that stuff happens on the ground, it seems like, so far in my experience.
Yeah,
Just
I think it's the person-to-person connection.
Yeah.
Like if you're performing, it makes way more sense. What's so interesting about this, and this will be the experiment, is with this video, this kind of format, actually like meeting me sort of as a person, meeting you as a person and not all polished behind some sort of musical performance. If that actually increases any sort of engagement, also makes you guys, the people who are through the screen right now watching, which is crazy to think about as we make this, like if that makes you feel more connected. It's one of those things that I'm just shooting in the dark right now.
I hope you're enjoying your noodles while we watch.
It's been really cool to see how both of our musical journeys since meeting each other, like what, a year and a half ago now?
Yeah.
How that's changed and morphed and developed, how you like started playing like bigger festivals and stuff all of a sudden, and added a fourth member, now like finding a fourth member again.
Do you play bass?
If you play bass, you should contact Anthony Siciliano. I was going to ask you one of two questions. The weirdest musical experience you've ever had, or the highlight of your career thus far. But honestly, I feel like the weirdest sounds way more interesting. Okay, we got a weird one.
All right, it's
A live one!
It's not weird cringy, but it was a weird, like it was a surprising moment when the band, we were on our first tour. We're up in Burlington, Vermont. We had kind of a late night slot. It was like 11 p.m. on like a Thursday. It was hard to get people out, but they were coming through. I remember we were sound checking. This is our first tour. And I look out and I see this couple and I noticed their shirts, which one was a Head to the Roots shirt and the other one was a local brewery that we play at around here.
That's cool.
And so like I looked over and I didn't think anything of it, and I was tuning my guitar and then it like clicked. I was like, wait, how did they get a shirt already? And then how did they, and wait, I know that brewery. And then I looked closer and they had like been to like one of our previous tour shows in Rochester. And now they're in Burlington. I was like, this is so cool. They're like following.
Did they like move or travel or like?
They happened to be in Burlington that weekend.
So cool.
And they sought us out to listen again.
That's so cool. I think that those moments where you see like return fans that you don't really know that are like kind of like acquaintances, like maybe you've talked to them after a show and because you recognize them, you're like, oh my god, there's like groupies, like it's kind of weird.
Yeah, more like a serendipitous weird.
Yeah.
It's cool. It means the music's connecting.
I got a weird one.
Yeah,
it's also like weird serendipitous. It's not like weird cringe. Like May of 2021, my album came out, and a few months prior, I had the wild hair idea. Wouldn't it be cool, like a month after I released my album, to go on tour to like Nashville? I just reached out to a bunch of musicians and I was like, I'll open for you for free if you'll at any of these dates in June if you'll let me. And one person said yes. Dylan Smucker, if you're watching, thank you.
Where you go, Dylan?
And I ended up reaching out to a radio host named Leanne. And Leanne, if you're watching, hi. This story is about you. And apparently after that, she was playing my music on the radio. And about a month later, I get one of those weird moments on Instagram where like two people follow me at the same time. And because I have such a small following, I notice that. And so I'll like click on their profile to see who these people are. And I realized like they're partners. I was like, okay, cool. I don't know. They're both in Nashville. Don't know how they found my music. I get a message from one of them the next day. I get a message from Matt, and Matt says, hey, this might be weird, but I've listened to your song Bodily Exile every day for the last 2 months because I heard it on the radio. Because I was driving to work and my Bluetooth wasn't working, so I turned on the radio for the first time in like forever, and your song came on, but I didn't know who was singing, I didn't know what artist it was, I didn't know the song, but it was so catchy, I was just humming it, and I memorized the chorus, and I typed it into Google when I got to work. And he found my music that way. And he realized soon after, like a month or two later, that I was just an indie artist. He thought I was like some up and coming LA pop person. What? And I wish. He messages me and I like go, oh my god, that's amazing. And his boyfriend Zack just so happens to also be an indie musician. They are both from Western New York. I just say, oh my god, Zack, I'd love to play with you. When are you coming up? So he came up in October of that year and we played a dual show together. And then like 3 or 4 months later, me and my friend Casey go down to Nashville to do a second tour, and we stayed with them at that house. And I invited Leanne to our house show at their house and got to introduce Leanne, the radio DJ, with the 2 people who heard my music and brought me back to Nashville a year later. And it was just the coolest, weirdest, serendipitous moment. One of those rare moments where you're like, wow, okay, my music does have an impact. If it hits right, it hits right, you know? The fact that hit the way it did was really cool. It made me feel really good, for sure. Cool. Yeah.
And that's Zack Joseph, right?
Yeah, Zack Joseph. You should check out his music too. He's got like a classic Nashville country vibe.
And phenomenal, like sends it really,
it's
right?
like he's great. Yeah. And if you're in Nashville, you should go to Burger Up, which is what Matt's restaurant. He's a manager of.
All right.
Very good food, by
the
way. Let's go. Jump shot. We're in Nashville. Whoa. Crazy. I feel like it's good to have like maybe one other question here.
I got one for you.
Oh.
When did you get into Bob Dylan?
Okay, so for those of you who don't know, because I don't really talk about this anymore, but I am certifiably obsessed. I want to say like I really started getting into Bob Dylan mid to late 2019. And then once the pandemic hit, it was all over. Like I was just, I was like looking online for collectible like signed copies of first edition records. That year, I think I was at his 0.01% of top listeners on Spotify.
I love that. That's impressive.
It was impressive. I listened to him for like 30,000 minutes that year. It was kind of stupid,
That's a ton.
Yeah. Well, you only listen to like 3 of his songs, like twice, and you'll hit the 30,000 minute mark because they're so long. He introduced me to, what's the sitar guy?
Ravi Shankar.
Ravi Shankar.
Shankar.
When did you really like start listening to his stuff?
There's 2 moments. I had a buddy show me his album that I showed you. I think it was Traditions of India or Spirit of India. I want to say like 2014 or something like that.
All right.
And the other instance was I had another buddy show me that live from Monterey Pop Festival in '67, which we watched together.
Yeah, so cool.
It was amazing.
And the first 10 minutes, you don't see Ravi Shankar perform. It's just video of people watching him, which is amazing because they're all mesmerized as well.
No one's really chattering or anything. Everyone's just really locked into the performance.
Yeah.
There's like image of Jimmy, they showed like Jimi Hendrix, who's like deep in the cut on this music, and like, it's a life-changing video for me.
Wow. Well, how to end this?
What am I doing? Why don't you tell the camera who the reigning champion of Uno is?
It's me!
Well, thanks so much. That was Chris.
That was Chris.
There was an overtone. Did you hear that?
Okay, I did. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure. Have a great rest of your day, guys. Till
See you
next
out
time.
there.
Bye.
Peace.
Bye. Bye now.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye now.
Bye.